Welcome to the latest Motley Fool scoreboard. I'm Anand Chokkavelu, and we've got longtime fools Keith Speights and Karl Thiel giving a 1 to 10 rating to the company that lives up to its name with its innovative cancer therapy. It's Novocure, ticker symbol NVCR. Talk about the business first, including industry and competition. Low competition, we'll see. A 10 is invincible. A 1 is hopeless. Both of you are going with a 6. But Keith, you were higher at some point.
Yeah, Anand, a few years ago, I liked Novocure so much I would have given it an 8 or a 9, maybe. Now I'm going with a 6. My concern is that the company's expansion of its Optune product into new types of cancer could be a tough slog. I mean, I love the technology a few years ago, especially. Novocure was just going blockbuster with its use of its product in glioblastoma. I like this cool idea of using electrical fields to disrupt the replication of cancer cells. That's just a fascinating idea to me. But now that they're trying to expand into new types of cancer, I think it's just a rougher go for this company.
Yeah, I gave them a 6 for the business as it is today, and the business as it is today is pretty much centered on glioblastoma. They've returned to nice growth after years of just kind of moving sideways. They're going to end this year with over $600 million in sales. The reason that the sales are growing again is because they are expanding geographically. They're not really, to my knowledge, gaining a lot more penetration in the glioblastoma market, and that has been a challenge for them. They've been kind of stuck around 40%. But I think they've got some real potential with new indications. They've launched into non-small cell lung cancer. And they've had positive enough clinical results that they are applying for approval in both pancreatic cancer and in brain metastases from lung cancer. So those are big, particularly pancreatic is a big potential market.
Yeah, I paused a little on the competition because obviously there's tons of competition with cancer treatments, but this one is a novel approach, which we'll probably talk about more as we go. Let's talk about management next. A 10 is Warren Buffett. A 1 is Homer Simpson. Both of you given a 5. Go ahead, Keith.
This one is especially hard to answer because Ashley Cordova has only been CEO for a few weeks. And so it's very hard to give a brand new CEO an accurate score. I'm going to give a score of 5 just because of the uncertainty about her ability to lead the company. She did serve as CFO for a few years since 2020, I think. And so, she does have background with the company, but I think there's a big question mark for Ashley Cordova.
Yeah, I agree with Keith exactly. I gave him a 5 as well, just as a sort of a tentative placeholder. I would have given the old management team probably a 3. I think I think Novocure had some bad luck, but I also think they mismanaged a few things. And I'd never really liked how a company that, its primary market is in the U.S. Still, management was out of Israel. I feel like too many operations were happening out of Israel. They've really kind of moved operations more towards the United States, and I think that makes sense for them. Most of the C-suite has turned over, although some of that is just people shifting positions. But I'm glad to see the management changes, and I'm hopeful for what it means. I mean, it seems to maybe already be bearing some fruit.
For financials, a 10 is a fortress, a 1 is yikes. Keith said a 5. Karl, you're a little higher with a 6.
Yeah. I guess I'm giving them credit here. This maybe is a silly way to look at it, but Novocure has been profitable. Like 1 year it was profitable, but for 4 years in a row they were at least positive on cash flow from operations. Which all I mean by that is to say that this is a business. You're bringing in $600 million a year of revenue, of high margin revenue from this product. If you wanted to build a profitable company around that, you could. I mean, they're working hard on launching in other areas, and that's why they're losing money and will for the next few years. But it does make me feel better about their optionality in how they kind of structure the business.
Yeah, Karl and I are pretty much on the same page on this one. I did give a 5, but I agree. Novocure's revenue is growing by a solid clip. I think it jumped 22% in Q3. The company does have a really nice cash stockpile of around $960 million. It is still unprofitable. I think Carl's exactly right that they could get back to profitability. And one encouraging sign there is that Novocure's bottom line is improving and it's already generating positive adjusted EBITDA. So, yeah, I mean, this is a 5 to me now, middle of the road, probably will increase over the next few years.
Keith, let's move on to valuation. How well will Novocure stock do over the next 5 years? How safe is it? A 10 is a sure thing. A 1 is a lottery ticket.
You know, I'm still uncertain about how much progress Novocure will make in these new cancer indications. So I'm going with an average annual gain of between 5% to 10% over the next few years. A lot, though, depends on how the company's clinical studies go, how well the market welcomes Optune and these new cancer indications. I think there's just a lot of uncertainty. So I'm giving the safety score a 5. And if the safety score could be higher, I would probably bump up my my prediction on the gain too.
Yeah, I said 15% plus, and I just 15% growth over the next 5 years just gets them to a $5.5 billion market cap. They've been there before. It's not at all unreasonable for what I think they could be selling, assuming they find some traction in these new markets. And so that's, I gave them a safety score of 4 for exactly that reason. Is I do think it's an uphill battle. Non-small cell lung cancer, they have launched, they have people who are now on the product, so it's already finding something. But I mean, there are almost zero expectations around that business, I think, just because of some of the equivocal results from the clinical trials. I think pancreatic is a cleaner read, and so I hope there's almost a halo effect that as you start to see, like, look, this works here and here and here and here, you get more oncologists who are willing to prescribe a device, which is not something they're used to doing.
So Keith, let's move on to top it. Is there a company you like better than Novocure? And I'll be curious how you all define the space, but in this space.
Novocure is unique. It's a medical device company that operates in the oncology market. And off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone else that does that, has that particular combination. If we just look at cancer stocks, though, the stocks of companies that are developing cancer therapies, I like Summit Therapeutics better. The ticker there is SMMT. Summit is a small drug maker. It licenses a highly promising cancer immunotherapy called ivonescimab. That therapy actually beat Merck's Keytruda in a head-to-head late-stage study last year targeting non-small cell lung cancer, which is a huge indication. And just so you know, Keytruda ranked as the world's top-selling drug in 2024. So if Summit wins approval for ivonescimab as a second-line treatment for non-small cell lung cancer, I think it's going to set the stage for this stock to explode higher.
And yeah, I stuck more literalistically and, just said that, to me, this is an opportunity to point out there isn't really anybody else in Novocure's space. And beyond that, obviously there's a ton of competition in cancer, but this is a case where this is really, it's not competitive technology, it's complementary technology. So and Novocure, to their credit, is increasingly doing some clinical trials around this. So saying, like, how does this work with radiotherapy? How does this work with various drugs? And so there's no there's no sort of new therapy that's going to come along that I don't think this could maybe be complementary to.
Yeah, the fact that it's novel and that it's complementary gives me, as a longtime suffering shareholder, some hope over the years. We'll see. But thank you to Karl and to Keith. They've given Novocure a low overall score of 5.7 out of 10. But as Karl pointed out, if it wins, it could win big. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is Visa. Till then, Fool on.